Okay, good afternoon, guys. We're busy with Unit 4, and this is our, or Unit 3, sorry. This is the last chapter of Unit 3 that we're going to look at. So we're going to look at Chapter 12, Project Delivery Systems and Innovation, the case of the US road. So there's a lot of that we can learn from this chapter. This chapter looks at the road construction industry in the US, design, bid, build. So that's very big in the USA. And engineer designs a transparent transportation project, and the contractor subsequently uses the completed plans to build it. In the 1990s, design build was introduced as a fast-track alternative to the design bid build and has now become a viable option. Within the last decade or so, public-private partnerships and the construction manager as general contractor have been introduced and used by a few state transparent agencies. So let's see what we can learn from the US, where they've been experimenting with these four alternatives to procurement. Okay guys, the first one that we're going to look at is the design build, and it has three advantages. It reduces the time for completion, conception to completion. It provides the owner with one point of contact, very nice for the client, and then it involves the contractor in the early design phase, which I particularly like. Then you've got your flow chart, which is your client or your owner. You appoint one person and he goes and appoint a lot of sub-consultants to assist him with the design and all the construction section. So the construction conclusion following from the research into the effects of the design build on the innovation is quite clear-cut. It finds that it supports the conclusion drawn from Songer and Molinar that if used correctly, the design build promotes constructability and innovation in the same manner as a value engineering plan. Okay, then the private partnerships, private partnerships, that is now our PPPs. So they are public-private partnership is a contractual agreement formed between public and the private sector partners, which allows more private sector participation than in the traditional method of procurement. So you've got your owner on the one side, you've got your connoisseur on the other side, you've got your finance provider and a design build entity on this side, and then you've got your operating entity who's going to take it over in the end. So this is something that we've got in South Africa as well these days, where usually private sector gets involved with government to actually try and facilitate projects. Okay, your PPPs continued. There are elements of design freedom, collaborative working, risk transfer and long-term commitment. Then the conclusion that was made from this research is based on these perceptions from research and practice, the authors would concur that Laringer's hypothesis that mechanisms traditional purported to enhance the technology innovation in private partnerships have not been proven effective and may in effect be largely effective in achieving these goals. So it basically says it's not as effective as a design build because there's still a lot of parties involved. I think in South Africa it has a bit more potential because we've got different elements to address than in the US though. Construction manager as general contractor. Okay, so your GMGC, unlike the design build, the state transportation agency has a direct contractual relationship with the designer and hence control over the design process. Now this is basically more a you appoint a consultant who then appoints a contractor. Yeah, so it's very similar to the design build. It's just you've got your design or your roles a little bit set up a little bit differently. So your GMGC offers much that the same advantages and disadvantages as you design build, and then additional benefits of easy and probable greater innovation from the contractor because the freedom from the administrative process. So okay, he doesn't have to do the administrative process, the consultant does that. Okay, or the project manager in this instance. The GMGC avoids disadvantages related to the lack of direct contractual relationship between the state transportation agency and the designer. Okay, so there is an advantage, and it looks basically like this. So you've got your owner who has a contract with your construction manager and your design professional. So you see it's a little bit it looks very similar than the traditional method, but you've got a construction manager who is appointed early on, and you've got a design professional who's appointed early on. So this is a collaborative relationship. Okay, and then you've got your different appointments. Okay, so basically the conclusions from this chapter is you value engineer. Sorry guys, this is supposed to be a U. If used correctly, the design build promotes constructability and innovation in the same manner as the value engineering plan. The GMGC project delivers major benefits to the agency. It's derived from contractual input to the pre-construction design process. And then in summary, the review of recent literature and practices concludes that the design build and the GMGC strongly encourages project stakeholders in their respective processes to innovate for the project. Okay, so in summary, a review of recent literature and practice concludes that the design build and the GMGC strongly encourages project stakeholders in their respective processes to innovate for improvement of the final product, whereas the incentives for the innovation of the private party partnerships are muted. We find clear indications that the relatively new GMGC delivery system offers a freedom to innovation unrivaled by other systems, including those dependent on the value engineering procedures to encourage or provide innovation. Okay guys, and then the final thing is I've posted the link here. You will see in the next lecture there's another link. Please have a look at these videos. It's 5 videos in a series of the Home of the Future. Very nice information that you can get from here, and nice discussions that one can actually get from this. So please watch these videos so that you guys know exactly what's being said in it. Thank you, and yeah, we'll talk again.